Remember, a habit and a pattern is something you don't know you're doing by definition. Once you become aware of the pattern and the habit, you don't have it anymore. You have to be beyond it to know it was there. Because while you're in it, you don't see it as a habit. You understand?
I do.
Therefore, you have a definition in your society that once you become aware of a habit, you still now have to do something to let it go. Becoming aware of the habit is the end of the process of letting it go, not the beginning. And if you know that, then you will see that it is gone. If it still continues, what that means is you still have another belief you haven't found that says that for some reason you have to keep choosing to do something you don't prefer to do. Find that belief and let that one go. And if you still are behaving the same way, you still haven't found the core belief. Keep digging. When you truly find the core belief that underlies all those secondary beliefs and truly let that go, then you will see no more of that in your behavior because you will stop choosing it, because it will make no sense to choose it anymore because it has nothing to do with you anymore.
Thank you.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Please remember, you do not do anything that you don't on some level choose to do. It always comes out in your emotions, your thoughts, your behaviors. They are always the signal about what you believe to be true. And you then have the opportunity to use those behaviors, those thoughts, those feelings, to trace them back to what belief you must be holding on to generate those feelings, those thoughts, those behaviors. Just keep digging. Eventually you will find the core belief. But remember, this is the tricky thing about negative beliefs in particular. All beliefs will do whatever they can. They're designed to do whatever they can to reinforce themselves and make it seem as if no other belief is possible, because that's the only way you can actually experience a reality reflection of a particular belief, is they have to seem real and reinforce themselves to seem like nothing else is real. So when you're dealing with positive beliefs, that's not really an issue, because you don't care that the positive belief and the positive reality seems real. You follow me?
Yes.
But the idea is that when the negative belief uses the same methodology to reinforce itself and make it seem as if no other belief can take its place, now you start feeling the idea of the tricks and the tools that the negative belief uses to induce fear in you to not choose any other belief. You see, when you're dealing with positive beliefs, they allow you to choose negative beliefs if you want to, because they're positive. But when you're dealing with a negative belief, it's going to use whatever tool or trick it can to stop you from choosing a positive belief because it's negative. That's how it works. But if you know it's just a belief and you know you can change it because it's just a belief, then you have the skeleton key that always will unlock the idea of whatever a negative belief may be telling you to believe is true, when it's nothing but lies, smoke, and mirrors, just to get you to keep believing in the negative belief because it's doing its job in doing that. So you need the skeleton key of just knowing that no matter how bad it feels, no matter how fearful it may feel, the idea of changing or letting go of that belief, it's just a belief. And in fact, the stronger the fear to change gets, that's when you know you're closest to changing. Because that shows you that the negative belief is using every single one of its tricks and tools to get you to not change. It is pushing as hard as it can to make you as terrified as it can of changing. So when you are right at that brink of absolute terror, you are right on the edge of absolute freedom. Yes, you have that saying, it's always darkest before the dawn. Yes?
Yes.
Well, this is how negative beliefs work. They will make things seem very dark, very formidable, very fearful, very dreary, very dangerous to get you to not let them go. But when you start feeling that, you just need to keep going. I'm not saying you can't feel the fear. It's okay to feel the fear. You can acknowledge it, But you just have to know that that's just the lie that the negative belief is telling you to get you to not let it go. You have to know it's just a belief and just a trick. This is where the religious phrase comes from, the father of lies. It's just the negative belief system. That's all it is. It's going to lie to you. It has to lie to you to get you to believe something about yourself that just isn't true. You're unworthy. You don't deserve. You're incapable. You will be intimidated. Watch out, that's dangerous. These are all lies, but it has to tell lies because what it's telling you isn't the truth. And the only way to get you to pay attention to the lie is make you feel scared enough that you will not allow yourself to believe the truth. You are worthy, you are deserving, you are brilliant, you are beautiful, you are creative, you are loved. It's just doing its job. It's not being malicious, it's just how it's designed. But when you grow up and you know that, and you handle it in an adult way, you will know, all right, you're doing your job, thank you very much, I'm very scared, ooh. You've done a brilliant job of attempting to prevent me from moving in a direction I prefer. Well done. I applaud you. You're a brilliant negative belief. And now you've done your job and you can relax because I'm choosing something else. Thank you very much. You choose what you prefer without invalidating what you don't. Because invalidating what you don't prefer keeps you on the negative side, which is exactly what the negative belief wants you to do. Yes, please invalidate me. Come on back. This way, this side of the line. Go ahead, judge me, invalidate me, because all you're doing is judging and invalidating yourself again, and oh boy, I've got more to work with. You following this train of thought?
Yes, I continually reinvest in a negative belief by resisting it or criticizing it or attacking it.
Absolutely. And when you invest, to use your word, in a negative belief, the only thing that can happen is depreciation. Yes? But when you invest in the positive belief, appreciation.
If this video resonated with you, don't forget to like it and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring and enlightening content.
Oh, no, say good day to you all this day of your time. How are you all? All right. All right, thank you. So, what's new? Anything changed this fall? No? All right. We understand, as we have said, that this would be the fall of 2016 where everything would change, and I think perhaps many of you actually believe this now. The idea, however, is that, as we have said many times, the circumstances themselves aren't the issue. Your state of being always remains the issue. How you respond to what happens is far more important to how you experience your reality than what is actually happening. The idea is to always, as we have also said, make sure that you always allow yourself the opportunity to give the circumstances that do occur a positive and beneficial meaning for you, even if you recognize that there may be things within whatever happens that you don't necessarily prefer. The fact that it happens can still be used by you in a positive way to propel you forward in the way that you actually prefer to be propelled, in the direction you actually prefer to go. You can allow yourself the opportunity to begin to recognize how to look at recent circumstances in a positive way that will allow you to receive a benefit no matter what anyone else chooses to experience. Now, we understand that a lot of you, as you say in your language, are freaking out. But again, there is many, many things that can occur still. Many things are, as you say, up in the air. The greatest effect here is the effect that you call shock and disorientation. But this can be a positive thing if you use it that way. For you are literally now in a place where you are disoriented from your previous reality. You are floating in limbo, many of you, and this is an opportunity for you to create a new reality in a very accelerated way because you have been unlocked by the shock from your previous reality, from any degree of complacency, from any degree of assuming that things would simply move along as they always have. This can be used in a very powerful, transformative way. Look at it like this by analogy, if you are willing to do so. Let's say you are in a little boat, a kayak, whatever you wish to be in, and you're floating down a placid river, all nice and slow and peaceful. And then suddenly you hit some rapids. If you understand how to ride the rapids, you can actually navigate your way through them and get downstream much, much faster than otherwise you would have just floating along on the placid river. So, this is an opportunity for you to experience a few rapids. And yes, there may be some bumps. But if you can understand how to stay in the state of being you prefer, and allow yourself to ride those rapids with skill and vision, you will find that this is actually something, because of the unlocking, that has given you an opportunity to move very quickly, to accelerate very quickly in the direction of the reality you prefer. This is, at this nexus point right now, one of the major nexus points of the splitting into different parallel realities. One of the things you have been given the opportunity to see very clearly is that, in a sense, you are living in two different countries. Yes? Yes. Almost evenly divided. So the idea is, now that those who have, in your terms, quote unquote, won your election, they now feel capable of allowing themselves to be clear about who they are, because they feel safe in doing so. And so this allows you the opportunity to see exactly who they are, and nothing is now hidden, because they think they are free to express themselves no matter in what way may seem non-preferential to you. It gives you a better idea, a much clearer idea, because they are no longer hiding their ideas. They are no longer hiding their perspective, their points of view. No matter how vibrationally incompatible you may find them, they have now exposed themselves for who they are. And thus, this is part of what we have said about you're getting everything out on the table very, very transparently, so that you can decide what kind of a world you actually prefer, and they can decide what kind of a world they actually prefer. I will tell you that there are still going to be a few surprises, even for them, because the person that they have elected won't necessarily be always doing things the way they thought he would. So this is far from over for a lot of reasons. This is a process that's going to continue for quite some time, and you will see that it will fluctuate quite radically from time to time in a variety of different directions. But nevertheless, what you are really seeing, what you're actually experiencing for the first time more consciously, is literally two side-by-side realities that are reflective of actual parallel reality splitting. So, this is your opportunity to remain in a vibratory state, not be scared, not go negative, not in any way, shape, or form react, but respond with that positive vibration so that you can ride that wave that is now happening and allow yourself to ride it, as we said, in balance, with skill, in the direction that it can propel you toward what you prefer much, much more quickly. This shock wave is literally that, a wave of shock, and it can propel you very rapidly in the direction that you prefer if you use it that way. So please, remain in the state of being that you prefer. You have many symbols that are inherent within this particular event. that has happened now that are very similar to other events that have happened in terms of their shock ability. As has been pointed out already, you have a very similar energy to what you experienced on what you call 9/11, and it was repeated on 11/9. So you're getting the mirror image and coming out the other side. You have the anniversary at this time of a wall that was torn down and people talking about building another one. So again, you see the polarity and the paradox in these events if you know how to look at them. You know how to read the symbols. Know what kind of a permission slip this is for you. So do not despair. Do not give in and match the vibration of fear and negativity. See this as an opportunity that others may not see. And lead the way by staying in the state of being that you prefer so you can, by example, demonstrate to others how they can also ride this wave. There is no need for the negative reaction. You're only matching the frequency of what you fear. Allow yourself to see this in a very different way, for it is a very powerful, magical opportunity that has unlocked you from an old reality. It is also, in many ways, acted as a safety valve for many kinds of tensions that were existing on your planet. We understand that there may be many other countries on your world that are reacting also with fear to this particular kind of change. But at the same time, if you look around, the ones that were actually, in a sense, most dangerous to you have now actually relaxed their stance because they feel that the person now in charge of your country is someone they can actually speak with. And whether that becomes true or not, the idea is the tensions in the areas that need to be brought down have now gone down. So things have actually smoothed out in those areas because they are of like mind. Now, it may not necessarily be a mind that most of you prefer, but the very fact that they think they can communicate breaks the tension. Do you understand? Yes. So you have to look at the results on a big picture, a big scale, to understand all the ramifications of what's going on here. But you will not be able to see them in a positive way unless you yourself choose to be in a positive state first. Because remember, you cannot perceive what you're not the vibration of. So by staying in a positive state, you will get more opportunity to have inspirations and big picture perspectives that will allow you to see what we're telling you very clearly. That this was an opportunity to unlock from the status quo, because it is one of the most important things that needs to happen in a civilization that's about to have contact with extraterrestrial societies in an open way, is that you get unlocked from the status quo. You have to drift free of all you assumed was normal, of all you took for granted, of the society you thought you were living in, to actually drift over into another vibration of another reality that contains the potential for extra-dimensional contact. And now you are drifting in that limbo. You are unlocked from the status quo. You now are open to the idea that, well, anything can happen now. And that is exactly the state of being you need to be in to actually experience open contact with us and other extraterrestrial and extra-dimensional beings. So this is working in your favor. And it is, in that sense, a gift you have been given, even though it may not necessarily have been the intention of those that gave it to you. Because things work in mysterious ways, do they not? And you can always see the positive and the negative and choose which one you prefer. Now, I will share something else with you. That also is a precursor and leading up to the idea of change in many areas on your planet, but specifically we are still going to focus on your particular country. Many of you have known for quite some time that our ship is above the area you call Sedona, Arizona. Yes? Yes. And we have talked about the idea that we are connected to the vortex, a very powerful vortex in that area. And we have been pumping energy and vibrations into that vortex so that it can contain more potential for discovering yourself, more potential for awakening into who you truly are, more potential for extraterrestrial contact. Now, here's the trick. As you watched on your election night, your country maps, yes, and you had your blue states and your red states popping up and you're not ready to count yet. And as you started to see more and more and more red, yes, more blue states previously flipping to red, yes, and you saw a huge swath of red through the middle of your country, yes, and then you saw one little arm of red come over and go down to what? Arizona. Now there's a link to that vortex for all those that consider themselves to be in the red areas, and the vibration of our energy can now begin to slowly leak and follow that path up into the red areas and start to blossom in all the little vortices that exist in those areas, so that unbeknownst to a lot of people, they will suddenly be bathed in an energy they quite not figure out what's happening. To change their mind, to change their perspective, they will be given an opportunity to have more of that energy by creating a connective link for themselves in that way to that vortex without even knowing what they're doing. But we know what's going on, and we know how to take advantage of that and allow our energy to blossom in those areas. Doesn't mean someone has to pay attention to it, but it affords more opportunity for that energy because they're all considering themselves now to be united. And they will look at that pathway in their own way, but they will not see the underground pathway that we see for that energy to leak into all of those areas. So that will also help promote the idea of opening up minds, opening up and changing perspectives, and allowing them to reconsider and see more clearly the choices that they are making. And you may see some very surprising changes going on in that area over the years to come, between your year now and your year of 2020. With respect to the idea of contact, with respect to the idea of the disclosure of the presence of us and other extraterrestrials, not saying it's going to happen, so please do not misquote us. But there is a higher probability now of disclosure actually happening. Because what do you have in the position of power? Someone who simply does what they think is cool and makes them look good. Hey, what if I told everyone that the aliens are real? Wouldn't that make me stand out above everyone else? Narcissist that I am. So there is actually a potential for someone who is typically a loose cannon to let something slip that they think might actually make them look good, regardless of what others may actually prefer them to do or not do. So the idea is, even though they may think they can rely on their candidate, they're going to get a few surprises. Now, the idea is to also allow yourself to remember that the affiliations of that person are actually much broader than you may think. They have actually come from an opposite political party. Yes? You understand the background? And they are allowing cracks to happen through which other kinds of energies and interests will come in that, again, many may think will serve their agenda, but may be surprised to find will actually serve an opposite agenda in time. So this has actually allowed them, in their complacency, to open up cracks and not pay attention to certain things that are leaking in. Such as the fact, and what may seem to be extremely paradoxical to you, that the focus on the election was so intense that those opposed to legalizing marijuana didn't know what hit them. Weren't paying attention. And suddenly, that passed. And so you see the ideas working for you in a variety of ways, kind of like what you call your little magic trick of the cups and the balls. And where's the ball now? Where's the ball now? Where's the ball now? Oh, look over here. Oops, you missed it. So again, there are opportunities that are here for you that are peppered throughout this experience, this event. You just know how to look and how to find them by staying in the positive state. And with regard to the idea of disclosure, you will find that at this time, whether it's this individual or not, things have been accelerated in a different way, along a different path. Doesn't mean it was the same path as before, but it may actually allow for more probabilities and more opportunities to open up, more cracks to form in the status quo, so that things may crumble in such a way as to allow for new things to come in much more quickly than before, than the status quo itself may have actually allowed. We're not talking here about the idea of the integrity or lack thereof of any individual or who you may have preferred because they represent something that you are in alignment with. We're talking about the idea of exactly how your society needs to change to open up to new things that you all say you would like to happen, that you would prefer to have happen. And sometimes those things can only happen in the most unexpected ways, when things do create a shock wave within your consciousness, so that you're finally willing to truly let go of the status quo and realize that you really can't predict for yourselves a lot of the things that are going to be happening. All bets are off for you. And this is a sparkling opportunity, because now you can decide in this limbo state really where the ball on the wheel you're spinning will fall. But the idea of the analogy of roulette is that now there are two balls on the roulette wheel that represent the two different parallel realities. But the wheel is still spinning. They haven't really fallen yet. No matter how it may look, they haven't fallen yet. And when they do, you will see more and more and more acceleration in the split of the two realities, and more shifts and changes going on either side, until they finally settle out and you really start to feel the drifting apart of those two realities. And with regard to disclosure, you will find that as the pathways are laid out now, and as the probabilities have increased for alternate paths to such and to open contact, that sometime between now and certainly no later than the idea of 2025, some form of disclosure of our presence will occur. There is another demarcation point in your year of 2020. It might happen before, it might happen after. There are still many things in flux, many things in fluctuations that cannot be in any way, shape, or form predicted. All you need to know is that you have unleashed many more probabilities for you to take advantage of, to allow yourself to ride that wave in the direction of what you prefer, if you will just learn to look at it that way. Is it a deal? Yes. All right. Then we thank you for allowing us to share this perspective with you. There will be more to come. And in return for the gift that you are giving us, we ask now, how may we be of service to you? You may begin with your questions if you wish.
Okay. And can you please share your perspective on compassion? In this person's country, the word is primarily associated with sympathy and pity. While they've never fully resonated with that definition, they find it difficult to separate compassion from feelings of pity. How can you understand that and experience it in a way that is more aligned?
Use the analogy of a parent and a child. When a child doesn't understand something yet, they haven't learned a certain lesson yet, they haven't learned how to navigate certain things in physical reality. Do you sympathize? Do you pity them? No. You have compassion that they are on a learning path. You love them no less, and you hold a space for them and teach them how to learn those things in a constructive and positive way. That's the feeling.
You understand that they are on a path where they have chosen to learn certain things in a certain way. You hold a positive, loving space for them to be able to do so. That's what compassion is. You look beyond the idea of what may appear to be momentary and temporary limitations to the broader and bigger picture that they're on a path of learning certain things, and you don't pity a child for not knowing them. You have the largesse and the compassion to create a space for them in which they are invited to grow and to learn, and to see them as powerful souls that have chosen these lessons, that have chosen this life path to learn those lessons in that way. Pity is not necessary and is not involved when you have compassion for others. So think about the analogy of a loving parent and a child. That may help you.
And on your level, do you experience pity at all?
No. Why should we?
The next question is discussing problems or issues in the world inherently negative or disempowering? Does talking about these topics give them reality, or is it more beneficial to focus on positive and trust in the perfection of things?
Well, why can't you do both? Why isn't it this and that instead of this or that? It's not about avoidance. It's about constructive conversation, constructive and positive communication about the things that you think are important to change in your society. Avoiding them isn't the issue. You can focus on what you prefer, but that doesn't mean you avoid the idea that you're still part of a society that is dealing with certain issues, and that you can add your own constructive point of view that may in fact help the situation be resolved in a positive and constructive way eventually. So it's not about avoidance. It's about inclusion. It's about communication. It's about willingness to participate and be involved because you're part of a society that is dealing with issues that need resolution. But come at it from a positive and constructive point of view, knowing what is possible, knowing what is probable, knowing what could be more beneficial. But the idea is engage, but engage in a positive way. It's not inherently negative to discuss things that themselves might be negative, if you approach it from the idea of how can we make this more positive and more beneficial for all. So, of course, it's the style of the approach that makes the difference. Remember, again, it's not about what happens, it's about what you do with what happens that makes the difference. So it's not about the idea that you're discussing things that might inherently have been created negatively that pulls you into negativity or reinforces the negativity. It depends on how you approach it, of course.
As part of what you're saying, is this the idea of detachment? Is that an element or a key aspect of
attached detachment, as some people on your planet have put it? Attached detachment. You are involved, you are engaged, but you know that you're not negatively affected by it just because you might be discussing something that might have been created from negativity. So you are detached in the sense of it having a negative effect on you because you know you're approaching it in a way that could be of benefit to many to find a resolution that works for all. So you are engaged, you are attached, but you are detached in the sense of it's not going to affect you unless you choose to be affected.
And how would you say that relates to the idea of the glass wall when you're observing things that appear to be in your reality, but you're actually seeing them through a glass wall?
It's a direct analogy of what we just described. The glass wall is another way of saying attached detachment. You can observe, you can help, you can comment, you can interact, but it's not going to touch you because you are detached enough to know that you're the one that makes the choice as to what affects you, because you're affecting yourself. The only thing you ever feel is your own energy. And if you know that, that's the glass wall.
Okay. This person is asking, as a mother, what is the best way to introduce your teaching or a new perspective of truth to her children? They are raised in a Christian Bible-based school, and she doesn't know how to bridge this gap with them while she's still learning herself.
Well, again, as we have said, there are many things you can do with children that don't necessarily involve whatever kind of religion or faith they may choose to belong to or are being exposed to. And that is the idea of using your own creative imagination to create scenarios in a safe environment, simulations, if you will, where children can be taught the consequences of the choices they make, because everything is interconnected. You can teach them that everything is interconnected, and with your creative imagination, create analogies and, shall we say, demonstrations of this, if you are imaginative and creative enough, in a way that they can understand that every choice they make has consequences because it connects to everything else, that you're operating with whole systems, that nothing is isolated, everything's connected to everything else. So if they can learn to make choices that are beneficial for all, for the whole, then they themselves will also be served. If they're just serving themselves, then they're cutting themselves off from the benefits of the whole. Teach them that they are as powerful as they need to be to attract whatever they truly need in life without having to hurt themselves or anyone else in order to attract that, in order to get what they need. You can teach them the formula in general in whatever terms and language they are willing to understand, and just make sure that anything that you believe is necessary for them to thrive in physical reality as a lesson is adapted to their excitement rather than trying to adapt their excitement to the lesson. Those things can allow them to mature into adults regardless of whatever ideas of spirituality, faith, religion, what have you, they may hold on to, because some of those things can serve them in positive ways if they use them that way. But the idea is to know that they are self-empowered beings who can grow up into mature, constructive, and positive adults that will benefit society and benefit themselves by understanding the consequences of the choices that they make, and therefore making beneficial and positive choices for themselves and for society.
Okay, and this person is a teacher of 10 and 11-year-old students and wants to know if these children are really a new species, and what exactly does that mean?
It means their DNA alteration is slightly different from your DNA configuration, generally speaking. It means they have more access to more of who they are as a soul. It means they can demonstrate more and different abilities than past generations were capable of doing, because the DNA arrangement that they came through with allows them to tap into higher frequency information and energies than past generations were capable of doing. And in that sense, they are a different species.
And this person is a member of a Reddit group for experiencers, and the person who leads that group is associated with Stephen Greer. And it seems very legit and conscientious. And the thought is that many of the people who have experienced encounters with ETs are what is called neurodivergent. Like in a room of 100 experiencers, 90% of them will either be autistic or have ADHD or both. Why is it that so many of them who have had close encounters with ETs are neurodivergent?
Because the soul knew that coming into physical reality would require an alteration of their focus so that they could, in a sense, not be so subjected to the general consensus reality, and therefore would have attributes that would make them more open to receiving higher frequency information from different dimensional realms, therefore acting as a model or a symbol or a representation of what exists in all Homo sapiens that can open up and allow them to experience open contact more easily and more readily.
And I guess this is kind of connected, the idea that there are humans on Earth who have received genetic modifications by the Greys, and that makes them more compatible in certain ways with ETs.
Yes.
These people may also exhibit autistic traits and have trouble relating to other humans. Are these precursors?
No. Precursors were not born on Earth. You may be preparers, but that's different. Preparers are Homo sapiens that have made a life choice to be involved in the ideas of teaching humanity how to be in the different altered states and learn lessons from different altered states and ways of presenting and communication that can prepare humanity for open contact. But precursors are actually extraterrestrial beings that were not born on Earth, that may walk among you in order to, shall we say, rub off on you in terms of their vibration and take notice of how many people are sensitive enough to notice that they are different.
And here's a new question. Do spirit guides place bets on the spirits they're supposed to be guiding through physical reality?
No, that's a human activity.
I've never heard that one before. How does
I bet you haven't.
How does all that is know that it is only one? It is the only one. Is it
That is the
possible for
nature of all that is. There can be many versions of all that is, but then that still implies that there is an all that is of all that is. So by the very definition of the way that we're phrasing that, all that is, inherently, its quality, one of its qualities, one of its abilities would be to know that it is the one.
Okay, so we have some questions, some ET questions. And before I do that, let's talk about a few current events. First one is the LA fires. Why did our beloved city of angels go up in flames? What lessons are we to learn from this tragedy?
Number one, I think many of you understand that it's connected to the changes in your climate because of what has happened in your environment that has allowed the idea of your environmental weather patterns to change in such a way as to make certain areas more vulnerable to different kinds of natural phenomenon, whether it be fire, whether it be flood, so on and so forth. Extremes are the result of the imbalance that has been created in nature. Climate change acts in different ways in different locations on your planet. Some places get drier, more susceptible to fire. Some places get wetter and more susceptible to flooding. Some places get colder and more susceptible to freezing. Some places get hotter and are more susceptible to desertification. So it's all about the idea of all the different variations becoming more pronounced and more exaggerated as you go through the idea of climate change, which is A, a natural cycle, but B, sped up by the technologies of humanity. What's going on now, most likely without the technological assistance, so to speak, probably wouldn't have happened for at least another century or two. But now you have sped it up with the idea of your technologies that are in many ways destroying the environment or imbalancing it. Number two, the idea is to, because of the new way in which you have to deal with your environment through climate change, to stop rebuilding the same way you used to. Learn new techniques, learn how to adapt. So don't just build what was there before that is easily destroyed. Adapt and build in new ways. Learn how to build with nature.
All right. And is there also a level of it that has to do with like anger? Is fire representative of anger or
For some people, it
purification or
can, case by case basis.
Okay. And this person would like clarification when you said that the female will lead to open contact and the male to World War III.
We're not going to discuss that at this time.
Okay. All right. And let's see. So what you were talking about before with the idea of fire, it doesn't have what are some of the representations spiritually that fire has for humans on a collective level?
Acceleration, clearing out, rebuilding, starting from scratch, zeroing out, clean slate, purification. Those can be some representations of the idea of the experience of fire. But it can also, again, like anything, have positive and negative connotations. It can be that which is out of control. As you said, it can be the representation of anger, temper, temperature, temper. So again, it can be many things to many people. You have to take it on an individual and perhaps sometimes even on a collective group basis as to what it may represent to different people that are going through those experiences and what lessons they are willing to learn.
Okay. And are there humans who have directly and extensively interacted with mantis beings and co-created hybrid children with them?
No.
And can
Interacted with mantis beings, yes. Created hybrid children with them, no. That is not the function of the mantis being, to be involved in the hybridization agenda in that way. They are the overseers of it. They are not participating in it in the way that the Greys are.
And do you personally have guides and angels that assist you like we do on Earth?
Everyone does. Every being does.
Can you tell us anything about your guides or your angels?
Not at this time. That is a subject for another time.
Okay. And you've made it clear that the hybridization program is very important for the soul growth of those who are involved. What would happen to those souls if they no longer had opportunities for growth provided by the hybridization agenda?
They would find opportunities in some other agenda, in some other place, in some other scenario. Souls will always seek what they need to grow. So it doesn't matter what the scenario is. This one happens to be an opportunity that is available on Earth at this time, but souls can go anywhere they wish to gain whatever they need as a lesson that helps them grow, that helps the universe expand.
And is there a galactic Federation ship already in position and ready for disclosure, specifically in the Gulf of Mexico?
Over the Yucatan, yes.
Okay. And you have many followers in Europe, but they feel the greatest number of UFOs are happening in America. Why is that? Is it because of the environment or the energy here that it's not suitable for them?
No, it's because the United States, more than almost any other country, refuses to accept the reality of UFOs. Therefore, we have to show off more often that we're here.
Okay, and as your sensing goes, are we still on track to have contact within 5 years?
Yes.
Or open contact?
Yes.
Okay. And now that we've navigated ourselves to a timeline of open contact within the next 5 years, why is it important to continue with the Interstellar Alliance social experiment?
Because it will determine the way in which you experience open contact, making you more vibrationally compatible to experience open contact in certain ways rather than not being as vibrationally compatible with open contact and experiencing it in other ways. So it gives you more opportunity. The social experiment gives you more opportunity to experience a broader spectrum of ways in which you can experience open contact to your benefit.
All right, let's say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. Thank you. I have a question for all of you. Do you have a soul? Yes. No. What does he mean by that? Of course we have souls. No. You don't have a soul. You are a soul. So, this perspective can change a lot of things in the way that you experience physical reality because you're creating it. It's a projection of your consciousness. And here, fundamentally, is how you do this. Now imagine, if you will, that you are a soul, an orb of light. So picture this in your mind. You are this sphere, this orb of light. And within it, there are ripples of energy, patterns of energy. Just like dropping a pebble into the pond creates ripples. Imagine ripples in every direction inside this orb of energy, this orb of light. When a soul decides to have a physical experience, this is what happens. These ripples that all are happening inside this sphere of light, this sphere of energy, this sphere of consciousness, all these ripples represent different aspects, different qualities, different attributes of the soul. So when a soul decides to experience a theme in physical terms, some of those ripples, some of those attributes are focused on, and they condense down and down and down in a focus to the center of the orb of light. Now, that doesn't mean the orb disappears. It is still there. Only some of the aspects of it have condensed down into this tiny small bit at the center. You might call it a seed, a hard kernel, like a subatomic particle. And that small crystallized seed at the center of that orb of light is your physical mind. That is how the soul creates its experience of physical reality. It creates a focus, it creates a dream experience within the center of its being, taking some of the qualities, some of the attributes, some of the aspects of its total self, crystallizing them, focusing down into that little center seed, that little center crystal. And that center crystal contains those attributes that represent the theme that that being will explore as a physical being in that physical dream at the center of the soul. So when that life is over, the soul doesn't leave the body. The crystal seed starts to expand again, starts to open up again, starts to soften, and starts to merge back with and into itself as the soul. So that is what death is simply the awakening from the dream state, from the little crystallized seed at the center of the soul. And the idea of the expansion of consciousness overall is what begins that process of opening up. It doesn't mean that just expanding your consciousness means you have to die physically. But the idea is that you open up and you are a little bit like a small open sphere inside the bigger sphere. Not so concentrated, not so crystallized, not so hard, not so focused, so that you have the ability to tap into the vibration of the soul more readily, more easily. And this becomes the relationship between your physical mind and your higher mind, which is the soul, which is that portion of you that is still the sphere of light, the sphere of consciousness, the sphere of energy. That is the higher mind according to the physical kernel at the center, the physical seed. So by allowing yourself to expand a little bit, it's easier for you to, by raising your vibration, expanding that seed in the center, tap into the communication, the ripples, the information that is always coming to you from the rest of your being, the rest of you as a soul, as a sphere of consciousness, a sphere of light. By opening up a little bit, you then contain the ability within that seed, within the center of that seed, to harbor some of the vibrational frequencies of information that come to you, the messages that come to you from your soul, from the higher mind. So the idea then is that comes in an energy language, as we have said. And that energy language, that energy message from your soul self to the little seed that is more expanded, is translated by that little seed in the center, that little physical mind being in the center, as the sensation called passion, curiosity, love, creativity. And that is when you receive the message from the soul self that whatever contains that passion, whatever contains that excitement, that curiosity, that attraction, that is who you really are. That is your core frequency. That is your core theme. That is your core creativity. It is the next step on your path, and that's why it's so important to act on that passion. Because action, as the little seed, is the language of the physical reality dream. Not words, not thoughts, but actions, physical actions. Let the soul know that there is an echo from the crystal. There is a reaction, a response from the crystal that it heard the message from the soul self and is willing to act on it, willing to be guided by it, willing in that sense to move forward in that way, which then allows the soul to respond to that echo. And then you create that back and forth dialogue between the soul sphere and the crystal seed that is you as a physical mind, as a physical being. Does this make sense? Yes. So again, focusing on yourself as a physical being, saying, I, as a physical human, have a soul, is very different than understanding that you are a soul that is simply having a human experience, that is having a human dream, a physical reality dream. So the idea is to allow yourself to really start opening up and remembering that you never leave spirit. Spirit is your natural state. You haven't left it. Most of you is there right now. All of you is there right now. But you have this little crystalline seed portion of your greater self that is pretending, that is dreaming that it's no longer in spirit. That is what physical reality is. And when you start looking at it from that direction, you start really tapping into your innate self-empowerment, your true nature, your true core essential vibration. And many more things can happen that are more representative of alignment between your physical mind and your higher mind, so that you can really understand you are not a human being physically that has a soul. You do not have a body, and inside the body is your soul. You are a soul, and inside your soul is your body. That's the difference. So, you are a soul, you don't have a soul, you are the soul. We thank you for allowing us to share this perspective with you this day of your time. In return for the gift that you are giving us in allowing us to serve you in this way and share this knowledge, we ask, how may we continue to be of service to you? You may begin with your dialogues and questions.
Aveo Bashar.
Aveo.
I'm a conscious channel. I would like to become a, what is it called? When it's complete in the body?
No. Being a conscious channel is the evolutionary direction.
Okay.
It went from people being unconscious to being more conscious because you're becoming equal and your version of that which you are channeling. You have to understand that the channel before you is not unconscious, he's just conscious in a different way. But a long time ago, channels used to be unconscious because they couldn't understand how they were equal to what they were bringing through. So becoming more conscious is the idea, is the evolutionary path.
What I meant is that I'd like to become a what's it called? Trans channel.
But that's a step backwards.
It is?
Yes, that's what I'm attempting to tell you. Becoming more conscious of what you're bringing through is the evolutionary path forward. Becoming equal to it so that you can just say, oh, I'm getting this now and I'm telling you what I'm getting.
Okay.
Instead of having to get out of the way so much. Because you're becoming more equal to receiving that information, more equal to that vibration. Therefore, you don't have to get out of the way. Now, if you really prefer to get out of the way a little bit, that's fine, but you have to understand what you are experiencing right now with the channel before you is not technically trance channeling. The channel is not in a trance. The channel is in an altered state called gamma. In the brain, it's between 40 and 100 cycles per second. It's a state of higher frequency connection and processing. It's not technically a trance. It's a state of higher association. So you can do many things to get into gamma, and this is, again, why we encourage all of you to act on your passion. Because when you are doing what you love to do, when you are, as you say in your language, in the zone, you go into gamma. You go into the channeling state naturally when you're doing what you love to do and no longer paying attention to the passage of time. You look up and you think, oh, it's been 3 hours. It only felt like 15 minutes to me. That meant you were in a channeling state. And by the way, when it only feels like 15 minutes has passed, you've only aged 15 minutes.
So when I am doing this channeling, it's always very positive experience with positive beings. But when I'm sleeping, I seem to go to very negative planets filled with manipulation.
Well,
and then I had one.
You're working things out. Would you rather work them out in physical reality?
No. I think I'm doing that too, actually.
All right. Well, then thank you
you
for working them out in the dream state.
I didn't get my question yet.
Go ahead.
My question is, I had one of these negative experiences that felt negative was I was sleeping in the back of my truck and this energy started vibrating my entire truck and I couldn't sit up, I couldn't get up, and it felt really scary to me.
Sounds exciting.
Was that an ET coming to see me, or
Yes,
what was it?
but that's not uncommon for one dimension interacting with another dimension to cause those kinds of frequency vibrations to happen. There's nothing to be afraid of.
Okay.
It's just a natural result of two dimensions intersecting.
Okay, that's what I was hoping for. Thank
All right,
you.
well then it's not negative. Don't define it that way.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
You are welcome. Pleasant dreams.
Hi, Bashar.
I know you. Good day.
I wanted to say thank you to you for your teachings, and also thank you to everybody that's working really hard to hold space for you and your teachings for all of us.
All right.
I wanted to know, when I was a teenager, I saw a spaceship. It's a funny story I tell everybody. Did I? Was that real? And
What did it look like?
it was diamond shaped with 4 blue lights.
Yes.
And am I still working with them? Like,
For your entire life, yes.
I know. Can you give me anything, like, can you give me something, like a little nugget? Like, who are they? Should I just let it go, or?
You are again part of the hybridization program. There may be other beings on those ships from time to time, but mostly you're interacting with hybrids.
Okay.
The idea again, I apologize,
I do too.
follow the formula. Because again, it will reveal what you need to know in perfect timing. Don't worry about who that was. You will find out if you need to find out. Right now, it's just about moving forward with the idea of the energy that encounter represented to you.
Okay.
Putting you in the state that represents a higher frequency.
Okay.
Because anytime you think about that encounter, how do you feel?
Awesome.
There you go. Stay awesome.
Thank you.
Stay in the encounter frequency.
Okay.
And come from that frequency in everything that you do in life.
Thank
Yes?
you. Yes, I love you so much. Thank you.
Oh, I love you so much too.
Hi, Bashar.
Good day.
It's an honor to be here with you.
It is an honor for us as well.
I'll make my question quick because I know. So my question is, I had an interaction with my guides telepathically like 8 years ago, multiple times in a couple months.
Yes.
And then almost 3 years to the day today, they kind of ambushed me at my apartment and they terrified me. And they were there for like 6 hours and cats, and then it took me like 2 weeks to get over the fear.
Yes.
And
Why were
now-
you afraid?
Well, I had a panther show up at my apartment window. It was
You had a what?
like a panther, or the image of a panther and a house cat
But
and a
don't
lion.
you understand that as a reflection of your own inner power?
Well, I didn't.
Do you now?
More so, yes.
Oh, how do you feel about it now?
Well, now I'm thrilled the fear's gone, but where'd they go? Now that I'm brave enough to have a conversation,
Would it scare you to know that they're still right here?
not at all.
All right.
I'm past the fear.
So accept your self-empowerment, accept your own power, and understand that the symbol of the cat is something that can see into other dimensions.
Oh, fantastic. I don't have a crush on you, but I do love you. Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Good day. First and foremost, I'd like to thank my love Natalia up there for encouraging me to raise my hand. I did not expect this. This is really awesome. So my first question, or my question would be the difference between free will and is your path laid out before you're here?
Yes, the free will of your spirit, in a sense, arranges certain things. You could call that destiny, but it's just about being you. You are the destiny. In other words, everything that you experience, even with your free will, you're going to experience as this person, this personality, this idea, this path, this unique perspective. So it's a combination of the idea of free will of the spirit, then the free will of the physical being has to go down that hallway because you can't be anything other than what you are, who you are, and so that can feel like a destiny, but you don't think of it that way. You just think of it as, this is who I am. This is me. And so you have free will to be you in whatever way, shape, or form you so desire. You can think of it like a hallway. The hallway is you. You can go down that hallway happy, sad, backwards, forwards, crawling, walking, running, flying, jumping, leaping, look in every door along the way, ignore them all. But you will walk down that hallway because that hallway is you. And you can't do anything but be you. So that's the destiny, is the creation from that sphere of energy we talked about initially, crystallizing down into that seed, that crystalline seed, filled with those particular attributes from the greater sphere that represent the theme that you're exploring, which is usually presented by whatever challenges you face in this life, on this path. So it's a combination of what feels like destiny and free will, but it's still about the free will of the spirit deciding that this is what it wants to experience as a theme. But as the theme, as the experiencer, you have the free will to experience that however you wish. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
You are welcome.
And then one more thing. Based off of the dream I had, or encounter with these beings, they're humanoid, shape-shifting, piercing green eyes. Does that sound familiar to you?
Can't help you there.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Good day. I'm here with my mother and...
Hi, Mom.
Oh, she has a crush on you too!
I am starting to feel flatter and flatter.
Please don't. So, I have always felt in my heart that I have a big mission to help humanity, to help...
How are you doing that?
Okay, so I'm a trauma-informed breathwork facilitator, and I do mindset coaching.
All right.
But
is that representative of your passion, yes or no?
Yes.
Then why is there a but?
Because I feel like I'm not seeing any results in my physical reality, really.
What kind of results are you expecting to see?
Monetary compensation?
Ah, that old thing.
Yeah.
Are you allowing yourself to act on your passion for its own sake instead of what you think your passion will get you?
Yes, because I find I am in my most joy when I am of service, when I am teaching and
when
sharing.
you are doing that, does the flow bring you what you need to continue? Or are you closing the doors through which other forms of abundance could come other than or in addition to money, which we understand is one of the symbols you have of exchange and abundance on your planet, but it's not the only one. And if you focus on that being the only thing that will allow you to move forward, then you are not allowing the other forms of abundance to come to you as easily as they could to join that symbol. Because sometimes it might require a little bit of money. Sometimes someone might give you a gift. Sometimes you might have something to trade. Sometimes synchronicity will bring you something. Sometimes your imagination will think of something to do in a different way that would make it unnecessary for you to need as much money or something else that you thought you needed. Communication is a form of abundance, and you could say something that will change everything and turn it around to make it easy for you to move forward on your passion. So you have to allow all the forms of abundance to be equal to one another and work together to give you the 100% abundance that you need to continue to move forward on your passion. So are you doing that or not?
I feel like I am.
Then there's no but.
Okay.
Because why are you focused on the idea of money? I'm just repeating what you said to us.
Right. Because I feel like I need more of it because I love giving it and sharing it. I give so much of what I have. And
do you give too much?
Perhaps.
Why do you give too much?
Because I'm so empathetic and...
You are so pathetic?
Empathetic. I empathize with people who are in need.
Empathizing with people doesn't mean you sacrifice yourself. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Because if you sacrifice yourself, then you're not there to help others. Do you understand?
Yes.
Being yourself is how you help others, but you have to love yourself equally and cherish yourself equally and give yourself what you need to be the whole person that can then help others by giving them your gifts. But you don't overgive, you don't sacrifice, otherwise you whittle yourself away and then there's nothing left of you to give. And then everyone else is deprived of your gifts. There has to be a balance. There has to be a fair exchange. Yes?
Yes. How can I connect higher to my higher self?
You do remember the formula, right?
I do. It's following my joy.
That's your answer.
Yes, okay.
Understand all the points precisely, and you will have your answer.
Thank you so much. I love you.
We just have time for one more quick question.
Good evening, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I was wondering a deeper pursuit of your idea of the formula. And
a deeper pursuit?
Yes, I thought...
of something that is complete?
Yes. Would you consider an idea...
So you want it to be more complete?
Perhaps.
Or do you mean you just need a clearer explanation of some of the principles?
From your point of view, would be most valuable and cherished. My idea...
Is there something specific
Yes.
about the formula that you would like us to illuminate?
Yes, I have an idea about it. Inspired action in appreciation always, in all ways.
Yes, yes.
Yes. What are your thoughts?
Well, yes, you have to act from the idea of appreciation and gratitude for what you have. That's what prayer is. It's a present state of appreciation for what you have, what you are. It's not asking for something else. So it's a state of grace. It's a state of gratitude, a state of appreciation. So as you are in service to others by acting on your passion, you are in a state of appreciation. And then that's part of the vibration of your passion. Does that illuminate it, or is there something else you wanted to discuss? You are welcome.